So, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to talk about the Dragon's Champion. And oh man, I have never been so excited for a 9-book series about the same 1 to 2 characters. It's going to be great, y'all. So, first, Eric is the main character. That's his name, Eric. His name is Eric Lotkin. He has been adopted by Lord and Lady Lotkin. We don't know who his actual parents are. And, okay, so, Master Lepkin is at this school that he goes to, and he takes Eric on as his student. Eric is Master Lepkin's first and only student, and Eric doesn't really enjoy it. Lepkin makes him train on his own, and he makes him do these repetitive motions with his sword, and he doesn't enjoy it very much. He gets into a fight with some other students, and it's kind of a plot point because he makes the kids, he breaks the kid's arm. It's kind of a plot point. I kind of didn't really get all of that part. But anyway, Eric is friends with the janitor. His name is Janik. I don't know about his motivations entirely. I think I missed something with him where he does do something and then it turns out he's a bad guy. I have no idea. Eric steals his keys and he goes to Lady Dimwater's office, and Lady Dimwater is amazing. She is beauty, she's grace, she will punch you in the face. Lady Dimwater's awesome. She's also the love interest for 2 of the masters at the school, Master Lepkin and Master Oris. Master Oris is the headmaster of the school that he goes to, and he's an asshole and also a bad guy. When he gets there, there's a bunch of security measures, but Eric is able to make them through. So Lady Dimwater is impressed, so she takes him on an assignment with her. And he, protects her, and she finds out some stuff to do with the whole plot of the story, but we don't really know what's happening at this point yet, because neither does Eric. So she sends him back to the school, and then Eric gets sent home, and Lord Lotkin is not happy to hear that his son was fighting, but Lord Lotkin also got into fights, so he can't really blame him. Lady and Lord Lotkin cannot have children, so that's a thing. And Master Lepkin decides that he's going to take Eric to this place so that he can train better to use his magic, because Eric is special, apparently. And, yeah, so Eric is in a ceremony. Eric is named the heir of the Lotkin estate, and the pin that Lord Lotkin puts on him breaks, and everyone's quiet because everybody's very superstitious despite the existence of actual magic. And he it's like a bad omen, I suppose, something like that. And then there's also a prophecy that a son will kill his father, which I'll get to that in a second. At this point, there's a slight civil war going on. It was set off by the family of the kid that Eric got into a fight with. Some of Lotkin's guards felt like he was disrespecting Eric, so they went and tried to kill the kid, but they killed the wrong kid, and it's a whole thing. Lepkin is off doing something. There's a lot of talking in this book that I don't really care for. I enjoyed the action because it was very fluid, but I'll get to all that in a minute. Lepkin is basically the keeper of secrets, and he's got this book that the bad guys want because it'll help them bring back all of the dragons and also corrupt them and also corrupt the minds of man. So Lepkin cannot let anybody get this book. There are people who want the book, including Master Oris, which is why he's an asshole. They're called Shadow Fiends. Those are the bad guys. And Eric is taken to some place where he meets a man called the Prelate so he can learn how to hone his magic. A war is coming, and Eric is going to play a huge part in it. Eric is 13, or he's either supposed to be 13 or 16. I don't think it actually says how old he is, but he's a child, and he's being thrust into all of this, and nobody is telling him why, which is pretty great because Eric actually has a refusal of the call, but I'll get there. The Prelate wants to rush Eric, but there's this sweet boy there named Marlin who knows better than to try and rush it, because then Eric won't be able to do everything that he supposedly needs to do in order to master all of this. Lady Dimwater and Master Lepkin are finding out more stuff. Fighting is happening. Apparently Lepkin is a dragon, but he can't stay a dragon too long or the book that he's carrying will corrupt him. I don't think they actually need to open the book in order to corrupt the dragons, but the fact that Lepkin has it on him is corrupting him, I actually have no idea. Somewhere in the middle of this, there is a dwarf whose name I cannot pronounce because it's very long, and he will be henceforth referred to as Al. He's pretty great. He is helping to protect Eric, and is actually the one who brings him to the prelate. And Eric sneaks into his office because he hears them talking about him, and he sneaks on the side of the building and is able to get into his office because nobody is telling Eric why he's special or what he'll have to do in this war. They're just all telling him that you need to do this, and that's not a good enough explanation for Eric, understandably. Bad guys are descending on the magic place where Eric is with the prelate. Also, the prelate has been fired for trying to rush Eric, and Marlin is the new prelate, our sweet boy. Lepkin comes and he defeats the other two dragons, but he is now corrupted, and now Eric can use magic just because. So his eyes start glowing, and he's talking to Master Lepkin, and he's able to free him of the corruption and also keep him from ever being corrupted ever again. It's pretty great. My description probably wasn't that good, but it kind of tapers off in the middle a little bit, and I don't really appreciate that. I don't like it. I don't like politics. I don't care if those are my least favorite parts of Game of Thrones. I do not like those parts. Eric and Lepkin pass out, and that's the end of it. So, points that I want to talk about. Eric is special in this book, and you can tell that he's special based on the things that are happening. He's Master Lepkin's first and only apprentice, and Lepkin hasn't told him why, but that's obviously not something that's common, so it makes him special. And Lepkin also chose him. He wasn't assigned to Lepkin, and he's been adopted, which is clearly a thing, and the prophecy seems to be about him, but as I said, Eric is adopted, so we don't actually know who his real parents are. So I think that the prophecy might be either a red herring, or it's about Eric's real parents, or real dad, so who even cares? Or Lord Locken has another kid, because just because Lady Locken can't have kids doesn't mean Lord Locken can't. So, Eric is also able to get through Lady Dimwater's defenses, and he can touch warlocks, which apparently is not a thing that humans should be able to do. And Eric is shown to be special. We aren't told that he's special. He's shown to be special, which is great, because I hate it when people just say, oh, you're special, you're special, you're special, just because. And it's strong and it works. The action flows, the middle kind of wavers, which I said, the dragons coming and Eric fighting with the students at the beginning of the book, all of that flows really well. And also when Eric has to defend Lady Dimwater, all of that flows. But the parts in the middle with with Master Lepkin, where he's just kind of going around talking to people, trying to do something, those are very annoying. I could not follow that middle bit whatsoever. There's a war coming. Lord Lepkin has the book. We gotta keep Master Lepkin has the book. We gotta keep him safe. There's a civil war subplot going on with Lord Locken and the parent of the kid that Eric fought with, who is also now dead. I don't know what's happening. Something, centuries of bad blood. Something, disrespect. So there's a fight started, and in the midst of this, Eric has to leave with the dwarf to go to the prelate. I have no idea. We do not come back to that part at all in the story. I'm assuming we will in the second one, because obviously this is going on the list for the round 2 of this, obviously. The prophecy part, I already mentioned a bit that I think it's probably a red herring. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like it'll probably come up later, because, Chekhov's gun and all that, and this writer seems to be a very good writer. And the ending, like, it's not a bad ending and it makes sense. I just feel like it's extremely convenient. That's all. He can now suddenly do this seemingly very advanced magic, and maybe it was set off because he cares about Master Lepkin and he didn't want him to die or anything like that. But I don't know. Also, I don't know why Lepkin chose Eric. I don't know if he knew that this was going to happen, or knew some version of this was going to happen, or if he just chose him because he felt like Eric was special. I don't know. That second point with Lord Lepkin, Master Lepkin, is not a point against the book. It just, I don't I hope we find out why Lepkin chose him, because as far as I'm aware, he's not any sort of seer. Um, I like this book. Clearly, I love dragons. I have a friend who adores dragons, so I definitely need to recommend this to her. Um, if you like fantasy and dragons, then you'll like this book. And also, the author's description is amazing. I don't physically have the book with me right now, but if you happen to buy the book and you look at the description of the author, it's pretty amazing. And I hope all of it is true. So, yeah, I like this book.